have you ever imagined working in a morgue? Marcos wasn't afraid of ghosts, nor did he believe in supernatural stories. For him, the night shift was just routine. But on that final night, something changed. Something he would never forget. Marcos had worked as a security guard at the municipal morgue for over 5 years. He knew every corridor, every creak from the old pipes, and every gust of wind rattling the windows. Working there, alone at night, was peaceful, or so he thought. The morgue was far from the city, surrounded by a dark forest. Some said its isolation kept away curious intruders. For others, it was the perfect setting for a horror story. Marcos would laugh at such ideas, often joking with his coworkers, "It's the living, not the dead, you should worry about." But that Friday, something felt wrong from the start. When Marcos arrived, he found the janitor, old Mr. Claudio, quieter than usual. The man was finishing up in the main corridor and whispered,
"Tonight feels different. I swear I heard something in the cold chamber hall."
"Be careful, okay?" Marcos just nodded, amused. But the old man's words would echo in his mind later that night. The shift started as always. Marcos completed his initial rounds, checked the cameras, and locked all the doors. Everything seemed normal. Around midnight, as he reviewed the monitors, he heard a metallic clang echo from the cold chamber hall. He decided to investigate. When he arrived, one of the drawers was slightly ajar, unusual, as he always ensured they were firmly shut. With a sigh, he pushed it closed. But as he turned to leave, he felt as though someone was watching him. He glanced around. Nothing. Back in the security office, the unease lingered. The following hours were punctuated by strange noises. Footsteps echoing on the cold floor, doors creaking as if being opened and closed. Yet, each time Marcos checked, everything was in order. He began questioning whether fatigue was playing tricks on him. By 2:30 a.m., the silence was broken by a loud thud. Marcos rushed to the cold chamber hall and found an unsettling sight. 3 drawers were now open. The air felt colder than usual, as though something beyond the machinery was chilling the room. Marcos closed the drawers and checked the cameras, only to find static on the screens. That's when he caught something in his peripheral vision. A tall, thin shadow at the end of the corridor. He shone his flashlight, but there was nothing. His heart raced. Trying to stay calm, he muttered, "Must be the lights acting up. This place is ancient." Back in the office, he noticed an out-of-place smell. Blood. Faint, but unmistakable. It made his skin crawl. Shortly after, his radio crackled to life. It wasn't the janitor or anyone outside. A muffled voice whispered his name over and over.
"Marcos, you'll see."
Panicked, he tried turning off the radio, but the static grew louder. He decided to check the autopsy room's connections. Inside, one of the tables was smeared with fresh blood. Impossible, as no autopsies were scheduled. Then he heard it. Soft, rhythmic knocks from inside a cold chamber drawer. He opened it, but it was empty. At the back, however, were scratch marks, as if someone had tried to claw their way out. At that moment, the lights went out. In the pitch black, a low, guttural laugh filled the room. Marcos shouted, "Who's there? Show yourself." The lights flickered back on, revealing a grotesque figure on the wall. A shadow, seemingly three-dimensional, emerging from the surface. It extended what looked like an arm and whispered,
"You shouldn't be here."
Terrified, Marcos ran for the exit, but the doors were inexplicably locked. His radio emitted wails and screams, as if from another realm. Every corridor seemed to close in on him, the building itself becoming a trap. When he finally reached the main office, the monitors showed something that froze him in place. Himself, sitting in the autopsy room, with the shadow looming behind. Yet he was there, standing and watching. A cold touch on his shoulder made him turn. Nothing was there. Then everything went black. Marcos was found the next morning, mumbling incoherently. He quit his job and never returned to morgue work. His colleagues reviewed the footage but found no recordings from that night. Yet, the claw marks on the cold chamber drawers remain. Stories like these make us wonder, what happens when we're alone in places meant for the dead? If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more terrifying tales. And now, check out the next video on screen. Until next time, good luck sleeping tonight.